before I went to Thailand for Muay Thai, I was running 3 miles every day. And then the answer is no, not lately. I've been slacking.
That road work though, the running probably helps quite a bit, huh?
Oh yeah, it's great. And for me,
like
just to warm up your hips and get everything to open up, it helps a lot to get all the muscles firing.
Do you have a martial arts background before that?
No. As a kid, I did like karate, like all the kids did in the 80s, because I thought I could become Chuck Norris, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
How hard was it to like throw kicks? I know, it's nice, isn't it? How hard is it to throw kicks and kicks and knees and shit like that?
It's interesting because Jimmy and a lot of his stuff too, and then working with these Muay Thai is working to open hips and get all the hip flexors and all that open, and it's gotten way better. And that's one of the things I really enjoyed about training martial arts is it's like a way to get a really good cardio workout without feeling like you're doing HIIT training.
Right.
And so I've really enjoyed that aspect of it, and then improving my mobility and flexibility, because I had no mobility at all from the days of just doing CrossFit and trying to get big. So I just do it for fun. I don't ever try to compete or anything. I just think it's a fun way to get a workout and not even realize you're training.
Yeah, I've been working on trying to get my hips are very much like stuck, you know, all those years of powerlifting and building up the squat that I built up. It's like when my leg goes back, my whole body wants to like go, go with it.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit hard sometimes for me to kind of manage. But yeah, I'm working on it. And as I've been doing like more sprints and stuff like that, my legs are finally starting to like separate and open up. You find
they were saying you were getting into jiu-jitsu too?
No, I have never done jiu-jitsu. I've only done a couple classes of jiu-jitsu before. Okay. I actually think that jiu-jitsu is a little bit like golf for me. I think that I'm going to end up doing both of them.
Yeah.
But I'm in no rush to really get involved in either one.
If this bounced too much, should I put it on my cap, or will this mess up your sound?
I think we're good.
Because it's bouncing on my shirt. Will that mess up your sound? Okay. So I like anything that's like new.
Yeah.
Because you just get bored. It's hard to stay interested in but the secret sauce is consistency and just showing up every day.
Yeah.
But it's a lot easier to do when you have something new and exciting to work on.
Right. Yeah, you probably really look forward to going to class still, right? Muay Thai class.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much to learn and not enough hours.
Do you know Kevin Ross?
I don't.
Yeah, Kevin Ross, multiple-time world champion.
In Muay Thai?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he's just like...
Oh, wow, this is beautiful.
Kevin Ross is just like nasty. Yeah, it is beautiful, isn't it?
This is like indoor.
Yeah, you get to hug a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try
Super cool.
Come through as I appreciate what you were saying to me in the car about like how you feel like I do a good job of having maybe like a middle of the road kind of stance. And I think that like when it comes to training, even though I did all that stuff powerlifting wise years ago, I think that when I have an opportunity to do stuff with somebody in person, it's really an opportunity to show people that I do these things kind of in a much more calm way than you would think.
Yeah.
Like we had a good workout today. It was a good, intense workout, but it wasn't like, you know what I mean? You're not like, Mark's crazy, man. I'm never going to go to his gym again. I hurt my back.
It wasn't like David Goggins where my knee's gone.
Yeah, and for me, I really love the long game. I love keeping the consistency. Oh, this be nice. We can use the band as a motivator right here.
This park is amazing, dude.
Yeah, so I come out like I walk every day. I walk quite a bit. I'll get in a good 15,000 steps every day without fail. And a lot of times when I'm on my walk, wow, this has dried up a lot. I don't know, I must have drained it. But a lot of times I'm on my walk, I'll just jog a little bit and I kind of test out how I feel. That's sort of how I plan my workout. Some days I sprint, some days I go a little further, some days I only stick to walking.
Yeah.
Because I'll jog and I'll be like, man, you don't have it today, dude. You should chill out. So, kind of just depends.
That's one of my favorite ways to, like after a long flight, you know, or being stuck on a plane, like to get up that next morning and do a jog in that city is like a good way to,
great way to
get
see the
everything
city.
flowing again too.
And great way to see the city that you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Oh yeah, they must have
I think they're,
emptied her out.
wonder why.
It's crazy.
Oh, there you go. New habitat enhancement.
Oh. Everybody wants enhancement. Yeah, so you, on the podcast, you did a great job of explaining kind of why you started your TRT clinic along with the pharmacy that you own. What, I didn't get to ask this on the show. Why do you care so much? Like, why is this such a thing for you? You seem really fucking excited and pumped about it, you know?
I think it's a culmination, you know. There was a quote from Steve Jobs when I read his autobiography, and one of the things in there that I swear resonated with me big time was he had this quote that he gave in front of this university where he said, when you look back at your life and you connect the dots, whether good or bad, you're gonna realize you were always exactly where you were supposed to be. If I wouldn't have been a drug rep, I would have never learned what I learned.
With the Liver King.
Yeah, exactly.
You were a drug rep with the Liver King, right?
Brian Johnson was a drug rep with me, yeah.
That's so funny.
At Eli Lilly. And if I wouldn't have left that and done surgical sales, I would have never learned orthopedics and the downfalls of surgery and how this isn't this super safe thing they're making it out to be. If I wouldn't have battled hormonal imbalances and been caught in the broken system, I personally wouldn't have ever learned and got out of these things. And then losing my brother and all these things combined.
To drugs,
as
right?
Hokey, yeah,
Opioids.
to opioids. As corny as it sounds, I look back and I think of his quote. And I'm like, good, bad, or indifferent, everything I've been through has given me the opportunity to be the right guy at the right time to try and rally the troops and bang the drum on a lot of these things, because I have a lot of intimate, nuanced knowledge about healthcare that if you're a doctor, you're isolated from, you know? Like a clinician doesn't know all the stuff I know about the insurance companies. You know, a hospital administrator doesn't know the level of corruption behind the scenes that's going on with big pharma. And so there's just so many nuances of stuff that are missing. So I look back and I just say, it gave me all the puzzle pieces that put me in a position to hopefully be able to provide a better way, a better path. And then I get excited about it now because I've seen the impact.
Yeah.
Like before it was me being the fat kid, happy that I wasn't a fat kid. And now I get to have other people say, holy shit, like Ways to Well changed my life, or I'm sleeping again, or me and my wife's relationship's great again. Or, you know, one of the wild things we didn't talk about is 60% of our patient population is women.
Oh, wow.
Women are desperate for help.
Yeah, I feel like women are really getting screwed over.
Yeah, there's a low T center on every clinic, but there's not anything for women as far as women's health and longevity.
Yeah, and I think, you know, testosterone replacement, hormone optimization, you're usually thinking of a male is going to go in and get that treatment.
Yep.
Yeah, and women are, you know, very compromised as well, so.
And as bad as it is, I'm super competitive. And so the fact that big pharma and these insurance companies have tried to sue me, have tried to put me out of business, have tried to make my life hard, it doesn't demotivate me, it lights a fire. And now it's a war. And if you want to go to war with me, we'll go to fucking war.
Yeah.
I may not have the pockets of big pharma or big insurance, but I've got good friends who are willing to give me a platform and let me expose what's going on. And that's where I can't thank you and Joe and all you guys enough for even giving us a voice.
I think it's important that people learn and get educated on these topics so they can make decisions for themselves. It's of no harm for people to further be educated about testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, like just pregnenolone, or like whatever it's not a negative, it's a huge positive. And I think a lot of times when you're going and trying to get health care, which is really sick care, you're not really learning that much about yourself. They're not a lot of times looking under the hood. Mm-hmm. They heard your problem. They have a solution for your problem. And yes, that solution may work. They might prescribe a drug. They might prescribe a couple other things depending on the doctor. They might say, hey, it'd be really great if you could go on some walks and get outside. You run into the right doctor, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're giving you things that they're probably going to kind of leave you chasing your tail.
Yeah.
Leave you confused or just so attached to that pharmaceutical company. Now, if you're attached to that pharmaceutical company, you're also attached to insurance, and you're attached to like every little thing that implements. And now you're in a big ass like system,
Yep.
It's pretty brutal.
It's sad because it's not the patient's fault, and it's not the clinician's fault. It's not the doctor's fault. This is just the ecosystem they're in. And, at some point, somebody has to say the emperor wears no clothes. Like, you've got to be able to call a spade a spade. And if you can do that, then you can begin. Part of solving the problem is first acknowledging there is a problem. Whether in medicine or in life, I feel like you can't just mask the symptoms. You have to address the root cause. And so in healthcare, we talk about the root cause and uncovering it, but in business, like this space, what's really creating this havoc and all this chronic illness? It's the system, and people are scared to challenge it because it's a big 800-pound gorilla. Yeah. You're talking about some of the most powerful entities in the world with big pharma, big insurance, and the federal government. I mean, that's a tough road to hoe.
Give me some of the nuts and bolts for our entrepreneurs out there that are listening. Like, how in the F did you get this thing? Like, have like a 25,000 square foot facility. Like, how'd you get this started? You have over 300 employees.
Yeah.
You had 100 when you met Rogan. Like, so some of those things are obvious. Joe Rogan talks about it, get more popular, but how'd you even start the heavy lifting in the first place?
I think a glutton for punishment. I think the saying, success is going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm.
Maybe not being all that smart.
I think I was naive enough. I was naive enough to think I could do it.
Amen.
And knowing everything I know now, I don't know if I could do it again.
Yeah.
Like, right time, right place, a lot of luck. You do your best to mitigate risk. But I tell people this all the time. It's like having a kid, which I don't have, but I hear, is like, there is no right time. You just have to take that leap of faith and take that risk. And if you believe in something enough, you'll fight for it no matter how big the odds are against you. And for me, when we started this thing, I knew an intimate amount about blood work. I knew an intimate amount about pharmacogenetic testing, toxicology, all these various testing modalities. And I was shocked when I was meeting with doctors how little they knew. So I started this because I owned these labs and I owned these facilities I had invested in, and I was just out educating clinicians. And every time I learned more, I began to understand more how this gap had gotten created. And like, I don't know how to explain it, but all the stars aligned. I connected the dots and I said, oh my God, there's this huge need that's not being met, and that need's gonna grow. And timing and luck, because COVID changed telemedicine. You know, a lot of bad stuff happened with COVID, and it put a lot of good people out of business, but it also created a lot of emerging markets. Like the telemedicine space boomed post-COVID because nobody could leave their house.
Did you have to borrow money or have an investment in the beginning or take a loan or something?
So I was a med device rep, and man, that job's crazy. It's 100% commission. When they gave me my territory, at this point, 18 years ago or whatever, they said, hey, you're gonna cover the Texas Medical Center. We're gonna pay you 10% commission. Awesome. What did the Texas Medical Center sell on average the last 3 years? $350,000. Okay, so make $35,000. 10 years later, I was selling $13.8 million a year.
Wow.
In the Texas Medical Center. And I did that. I went through this on Joe. Joe said, how did you do that? Through being fucking honest. It was a wild concept. If I was just honest with doctors, if they said, Brigham, what do you think of your pump? It's shit, don't use it. But I've got this shaver that's phenomenal, and I will stand behind it, and I'll be in your surgeries, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed. But I'm not gonna push this pump on you. And after doing that for 3-4 years, you build trust and rapport with your client base, and that gave me the capital to start my first business venture, which was me out of my garage, and it went from me out of my garage and 1 employee to 150 employees.
Damn.
And it was in the insurance market. And then that's when insurance started cutting reimbursements on blood labs, getting rid of genetic testing, refusing to do MTFHR testing. All the things that we're talking about on the podcast today, I was doing almost 10 years ago with my previous company. And I was telling my team at the time, we're gonna have to move to cash pay. And everyone thought I was crazy. It'll never happen. The market will never accept paying cash for healthcare. And my rebuttal was, you can pay for your healthcare now, or you can pay for your healthcare later. You know, like, if you're gonna be in this broken insurance model and they refuse to cover anything, and you really do wanna drive your health span, your only option is to start paying cash. And so I was fortunate enough to be in that space at the right time and see what was coming.
Was there some rough periods, like when you guys started, you know, hey, we're open, it's like no one knows about you or cares about you, right? So
there were so many days. There still are.
You're like looking at your watch, like, anybody coming in today? Or?
There still are days where, you know, in the compounding world, I know I shared this, they just got rid of, overnight, the FDA decided we're gonna get rid of peptides, we're gonna ban them. Yeah, I mean, I have hundreds of employees whose paychecks and jobs are dependent upon our revenue, and you just gutted me. Overnight, took 30% of my revenue away, boom, gone. You know, and so there's these huge sweeping regulatory decisions that can put tremendous pressure. And the main thing I tell my people is, we've got to be innovative, we've got to stay hungry, we can't get complacent, and we have to realize there's always going to be a need for healthcare. And as long as we keep our North Star of trying to help people, I can't help but feel like we're going to find a way through it. And
we got a little hill here, so let's push into it, and it's got some decent length to it, so we'll just push to the top and then we can resume the conversation.
Do it.
We'll probably do that a couple times, just just do your best to not
Yeah.
pay any attention to me. Like, if we race each other,
No.
good opportunity to get hurt, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'll just try and survive.
Yeah.
But legitimately, I truly believe in what we're doing. And I mean, I have no ego about it. There are days I've laid in bed and cried. There are days I've thought, what do I do? How do I, like, everything's going right, but I can't catch a break at the same time with the government. And it's just entrepreneurship. It's not easy. And even growth is a problem. How do you, I say, how do you make a consistent cheeseburger? You know, look at how hard it is for a restaurant to make a burger right when they scale, okay? Well, now add 5,000 variables, the FDA, the DOJ, the DEA, patients, clinicians, markets, and try and navigate all that.
I love what you said right there about the cheeseburger, because my wife used to say, like, I would have these big ideas, and my wife is kind of the background of our businesses. She's more the CEO, I guess you'd say, than I am. And I would have these ideas that were pretty big, and she would be like, we're still working on getting our emails right. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I agree. That's a nice idea you have for promotion or marketing, but we're working on, like, making sure that everything's spelled correctly on the emails, you know?
Well,
So
I'm
that
sure
reminded
you
me of
have
what you
this
just
mindset as an entrepreneur like you are. It's, for me, if I thought about all the things that could go wrong, I would never get out of bed. And I'm, in a way,
Right.
I guess there's a saying, pessimists are usually right and optimists are usually successful. So, you know, it's like, you're
may
gonna
as well-
face challenges.
Yeah, you may as well be optimistic.
Yeah. And let's just look the storm in the face and try and walk through it. Because what else are we gonna do? Just lay in bed?
Right.
You guys have like zebra squirrels. That guy had stripes.
Oh, yeah.
But even to this day, all the things that are going right, the FDA guts us and takes peptides. Okay, well, then big pharmaceutical companies are suing me and other compounding pharmacies for making products that are on the FDA backorder list. And it's just from their seat, from big pharma's seat and big medical, it's a war of attrition, and they just try to grind you out and make it so hard that you quit. And you know, that's the sad part of this, is the person who loses, this isn't putting a dent in the pocketbooks of big pharma.
No.
You know, and it's so minuscule, but they're smart enough to see what it could be. I really do think they're not dumb. They know the more this field takes off, the dimmer their future gets.
Yeah, because you're empowering people, and you know, you draw someone's blood work, you do some other tests, check their body fat via DEXA, check their VO2 max, and now in a 45-minute phone call about the results of their blood work and some other tests that you ran, they now start to learn so many things about themselves that they really probably, unless they're like meathead, you know, they really probably didn't know about. Or unless they have a pretty comprehensive athletic background or something.
It's interesting because in healthcare, it's one of those spaces where you can earn a lot of trust, almost like a religious experience for people. If you really help someone.
Let's flip around, and we're gonna go up that hill. Okay. We can just we can just walk a little bit, and then we'll come back and go.
If you can really help someone, when we were talking about these famous people earlier and how surreal it is to see, like another famous guy, Tim Kennedy. I don't know if you know who he is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's a stud. And the first time I met him, he was super aloof.
Guy has his own schools and shit.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's amazing.
By the second time I met him, his demeanor and receptiveness to me was night and day. come here, you son of a bitch.
Oh,
Came over
nice.
and hugged me and was like, dude, you didn't lie. You didn't mislead me. You fucking are a man of your word. This is unbelievable. And like, people come with skepticism.
Right.
And I expect that, and I respect that, and I want them to have that. You should have healthy skepticism with any clinician, not just us, anybody you're working with. Understand that it's not as straightforward as it may seem, and there's also sometimes financial incentives, consulting agreements, backdoor arrangements. I hate to say it, but this is true, and this happens every day. So like with the GLPs, there's a group of paid clinicians that are out there banging the drum saying compounding pharmacies are dangerous. They're trying to scare patients from going to compounding pharmacies. Right. But if you look, they're all paid consultants by Novo Nordisk and friggin' Eli Lilly, but they have a platform and they have a lot of money and they have mega PE firms, or PR firms, sorry, and they're able to push agendas.
I'm gonna hit this hill right here.
All right.
What do you think are like two main strategies that really helped you to make it? You mentioned earlier telling the truth as a rep, and that being a big key to your success. We hear people sometimes talk about, you know, if you walk with the lame, you'll develop a limp.
Yeah.
Get around like-minded people, right? Get around people that want to be better, do better. Have you adopted some of those principles? Like what are two main things you held on to kind of get over the hump and then to meet, you know, a Rogan and so on?
Well, getting to meet guys like Joe and, you know, Cam Haines and you and, you know, a lot of people who were heroes to me in my earlier years and still are, and seeing how hardworking they are, how driven they are. It's so easy to sit back from a distance and look at somebody and go, oh, they got lucky.
Yeah.
Oh man, that guy again.
Oh, his dad probably funded him, helped him.
And it's like,
it's so funny how we do that, you know? I think we're all kind of guilty of, once you get successful, you don't do that.
No.
Nearly as much.
And one of the things I learned as I gained success, you know, like a lot of the surgeons that I was friends with, when my financial success exceeded theirs, they treated me different, like in a negative way. Like in a way, my cup getting full was taking from their cup.
Yeah.
And there's this weird scarcity mindset that I think is indirectly human nature possibly, but success breeds success, momentum breeds momentum. Surrounding yourself with happy, driven, motivated people puts that back in you. Like when I'm tired and I'm wiped out, or, you know, if I do go out, for instance, and I get up and I don't want to work out, I know that guys like Joe went out and they're up at fucking 7 a.m. Doing kettlebell trainings and ice baths. And I'm like, there's a level of mental toughness that you see in all these resilient high performers across the board.
Right.
Whether Aaron Rodgers, Cam Haines, you, Joe, everyone. It's not just a gift that's given to people. It's a grind that they're putting forth every day.
So you were already working very hard, but then you saw like, oh my God, there's other levels to all this.
Yeah, because in my friend group, I was the hardest working guy.
Yeah.
And then I got into these other levels and I go, oh shit, I could be way better.
Let's hammer this hill. It's about 80%. Yeah, you got Joe Rogan, Segura, Bert Kreischer. These are all dudes that also have a family.
Oh yeah.
You know, they're executing on all these levels. And with Rogan, we're so hyper aware of all the different things he does, because he's our UFC commentator. You know, it's really motivating to me as well. I don't know some of these people the same way that you do, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Getting around high-level performers, owning the gym that I've owned for many years, and like it being normal for a guy to be like your size that squats like 650,
So
600, yeah. I know, 700, and you come in and you're like, dude, I want to deadlift 900. I'm not gonna laugh at you. I'm like, cool. We had two other guys that were kind of knocking on the door. That we had this guy over here. He pulled 903 in a meet. You know, it's like common. It's normal, because not only are we working hard, we also kind of develop a recipe over time of what works, what doesn't work. You implement one thing, you're like, that works well. We're also open-minded to the fact that we don't know everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
so
when you were walking through this, I was thinking you nailed it.
Yeah.
That's another thing I hadn't thought about with all these people. They're open-minded enough, even with all their success, to say, what can I learn from this person?
Right.
Which is mind-boggling.
I've been working really hard on, when I communicate with somebody, I've been working on communicating with people almost the same way I might podcast. So if you say something on the show, I'm going to figure out a way to communicate with you that doesn't feel like I'm jumping down your throat.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to say, I think GLP-1s are amazing. America needs it. Everyone's, you know, overweight. Rather than me inserting my own opinion and getting into a fight, oh, doesn't that cause the gut to slow down? And it doesn't sound like a good idea. What about long term? Instead, I might just simply say, oh, well, why do you feel that way?
Yeah.
Do you really believe that America's in that big of a hole that we need this drug to get us out of it? You know, so
yeah.
I love trying to be open-minded, because I've learned so much in that process of kind of having that white belt mentality.
And I think what's unique and cool about podcast and long form media is it gives us the chance to have healthy debate, you know, because my lens on it is the guys on this extreme saying that these are dangerous and are all these things, there is validity to their concerns 100%. And they are right on a lot of these things. These guys on the other end saying this is for everyone, you know, they're right on some things and they're wrong on a lot of things.
Right.
And I've learned time and time again, truth is nuanced and it's always in the middle. And I don't like making bold, polarized statements myself, because I think my opinion's going to change as I learn more, and it's a search for the truth. And if you think you already know everything, you're never going to find the real answer, because you're not going to search anymore.
The smartest people in the world will say something to the effect of, I'd like to change my answer. I'd like to change my opinion. They're not afraid to admit, yeah, I was kind of under some false pretenses there for a little bit. Also, you know, the things we believe are going to be partially and directly in relation to our life experiences. So if someone who's wealthy gets on Instagram and they're like, bro, you need to get away from your 9 to 5, you need to go out and do your own thing. You know, that person's in a different, someone might say, follow your passion. Well, I'm having a hard time figuring out how to follow my passion, because I'm following a check.
Yep.
You know, and I agree that I need to follow, but for now, all I got is this particular skill set to cash in.
Yeah.
And so rather than quit the job, maybe just on the weekends, get that side hustle on the weekends, or start building some other skill sets that are going to provide value for the future.
Yeah, the saying, your risk while attempting to optimize your chance of success. And that's kind of what I did. I was a device rep and double dipping while I built out my first attempt at being an entrepreneur. And, you know, I probably stayed a device rep for 2 years after I built my first company, because it was hard to give up that paycheck and to take that leap of faith. And it's intimidating.
Scary. Scary to do it, but you can kind of, you can work on your today as you're putting some equity in the bank to build on tomorrow,
Yeah.
You can simultaneously do it. And I think that's something super admirable that we tend to see that in other people, and like, shit, that's dope, They're kind of spinning a lot of plates at one time without allowing any, or maybe some of them are falling,
Yeah.
Maybe some of the plates are falling, but that person is less sidetracked by that.
Or if you see how it's easy to think that's impossible, or I could never do that because I have a 9 to 5. When you see how hard athletes, or again, any of these high performers work, it's not a 9 to 5, man.
Right.
Right? They're up early, they're working late, they're still getting their family time. Like, if you put ordinary hours in, why should you expect anything other than an ordinary life? Right? The way for an extraordinary life is extraordinary effort.
And that's where I think the follow your dreams, follow your passion comes in. Because if you can link those two things together, link up your passion and your work, it'll be easier for you to be at work all day.
Yeah.
Which can be tough.
To me, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of days that are a beatdown. Like, government, regulatory, FDA, all that is a beatdown. But seeing the results in people, getting to like hear feedback, building relationships that'll last a lifetime, it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's so rewarding. And if I wasn't doing this, I don't know what else I'd do.
In my family for many years, many years. I mean, it still happens. They're like, hey, Mark, can you go pick up so-and-so from batting practice? I'm like, not at 2 p.m. Like, like, they don't think I work. We'll go left here. Yeah, a lot of time. Oh, car. A lot of times they don't think I really work, because again, it is a little different, right? Like, they know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And they know that most of my day looks like this.
Yeah, and people don't understand that.
Right.
Yeah, I even have, it's funny because of my passions, a lot of the people who work for me, not a lot, but a handful of them are like former pro fighters and former jiu-jitsu guys and all of this. So one of the guys I promoted to help me with a lot of the day-to-day stuff, the other reps that are at the company are like, are you guys just hanging out drinking margaritas all day, or what are you doing? He's like, dude, I had no idea how much shit this guy has to deal with every day.
Well, and most of the people you hang out with too, like when you're work and you're dealing with regulations and, hey, I don't know what happened, but so-and-so didn't show up to work 2 days in a row. Like, when you have to deal with those things, those are certain kinds of things that are just typical normal things that everyone's got to deal with. But an advantage for you, or advantage for me, is that we get, and I think if other entrepreneurs too, keeping their eyes open, most of it just like a lot of personal development. You get a moment to hang out with Joe Rogan or some of these high-level performers, and that's another trip into like learning how these guys live their life, and learning how, learning how Tom Segura juggles all those tour dates with a wife and 2 pretty young children,
It's crazy.
But
or even Gordon Ryan's become one of my best friends, man. And
best in the world,
literally is working from
time.
dusk till dawn. All he does is train 365 days a year. Christmas, you name it.
It's wild too. Best in the world, greatest of all time, hands down. Like, no one really ever even mentions anybody else.
It's crazy.
It's crazy because he's like 27 or something, right? 28?
Somewhere there's a dead animal.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it smells gross.
Yeah, it's insane.
We got another like 10 minutes.
Okay. It is such a cool park though, man.
So you haven't been doing much running
No.
in the last, how long, year or so?
Let's see, I went to Thailand 5 months. Yeah, about 5 months. But I was running 3 miles a day prior to that.
Yeah.
But.
And you're keeping your cardiovascular, you think, via some of the Muay Thai you're doing, some of the training you're doing at Jimmy House.
Definitely Muay Thai is killer cardio.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more in the red zone, you know?
Right. There's not much zone 2 in that one.
Yeah. I need to get back to running though. It's one of the things that's missing from my routine right now.
Well, here's a good, here's a great way to do it. Like, I think, if you wanted to power lift, right, and you lived around here, I would just be like, oh, meet me at the gym, and we'd lift very similar to the way we lifted today.
Yeah.
There'd be some small changes, like we wouldn't have done the incline bench before the regular flat bench. I would have saved a little bit more of your energy for the particular power lift. But people don't, it'd be great if people can understand this. It can be kind of casual. Like, you don't have to train like a complete lunatic.
Yeah.
Like, even just, so, okay, you're trying to be number 1 in the world. Like, those are different categories of things. Trying to be fit and trying to be proficient at Muay Thai, you go there, you got a 2-hour practice, you want to do the best you can. You're not going to learn it all in one day.
Yeah.
You're going to suck. Yeah. You're going to suck for the next couple years. You're not going to really do anything all that impressive. It doesn't mean not to push yourself, but it means to pace yourself.
Yeah.
And to say, you know what? Like, I want to be awesome at this to the point where people are saying, bro, you should compete. You're doing great. Like, and you're in your 40s or something, You're
spot on, because the other thing that happens is as soon as you slip up or make a mistake, if you're trying to be a perfectionist, people are so hard on themselves, they throw everything out the window and go, oh, I messed up and I broke my fast. I'm just going to eat a burger for lunch. And it's a slippery slope. Yeah. And it's that way in business too, like business and entrepreneurship.
That's a good example with the fast. That's great.
If you're like Gary Vee, I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, I love Gary Vee.
He talks a lot to people about taking the risk and doing this. And he's very motivating and inspiring. But one of the things that I'd give a caveat to is be prepared to embrace the suck. Like, this entrepreneurship thing's not going to be rainbow and sunshines and all the stuff you see in the, on Fortune magazine with the success stories. There's, going to be a long road to hoe, and it's only a failure if you give up. Right? Michael Jordan's thing of, I never lost a game, I just ran out of time.
Right.
Like, if you don't give up, you're going to figure it out. Every puzzle's solvable with enough time and mental bandwidth.
This is a sick quote. I'm a big proponent of doing the best you can to, like, calm down, take your time. Again, it doesn't mean to be lazy. It doesn't mean to be lax. It just means that it's going to take you a long time to acquire these skills anyway. So just try to take a breath, chill and relax about it. Like, really not a lot of reasons to think about, like, having abs when you're 50 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
You just think about what's achievable immediately, What are the things that you can do now? What are the big changes you can make now that are going to deliver some of those results?
Let's go. Come on, dude.
Yeah, no, I agree completely.
A little hill
even
here.
With entrepreneurship, people sometimes want to be such perfectionists. They want to be such perfectionists that they let perfection get in the way of good. And my thing is, like, just fail forward, fail fast.
Yeah.
And don't get stuck on your idea. Be prepared to drop it and move on to a different strategy. And I don't have all the answers, but it's worked so far for the last 8 years.
I agree. Home sweet home, we're back here.
That was a good run. I don't know how much distance we ended up doing.
Oh, we're right around 3 miles.
Yeah, that's good. I needed that first run in like 6 months.
And you gotta punch the thing again.
There you go.
Boom. Boom. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna run that hill one more time. Let's cruise back over there and we'll end up with an even, well not even, but we'll end up with 3 miles.
Sweet.
Yeah, the faster running is new for me. I haven't really messed with it much. And so I probably have come out and ran fast, you know, like 5 to 7 times, somewhere in there.
Chris lives here too, right? Sacramento.
Yep.
Do y'all
Yep.
work out together?
We don't really get an opportunity to lift together that often.
Yeah.
He's still kind of recovering from a lot of stuff. He did the ibogaine and he did like an MDMA kind of treatment. And I know he was pretty happy with the results he got from going to your place. And he was talking about how kind you are and everything. So he was really
He's such a nice guy,
appreciative. I know the pain.
I felt so bad for him when I was talking to him. I just feel bad when I hear people struggling like that, because
it's brutal.
I also know it's a more difficult thing than addiction itself, because you're in pain, and then the thing that can make that pain go away is also the thing that can destroy you.
Yeah.
And so it's like this, it's just a sad equation that so many people get caught in that pain vortex.
Right.
And these chronic injuries that the system won't heal, you know,
Yeah.
or don't have the bandwidth or time or energy to help him heal. It's brutal.
Yeah, it's tough, man. He's been in pain for so long, you know, and he's also dealt with addictions and stuff, and like he was overdoing the kratom for a while. And I think that my personal beliefs on some of this stuff is that when you take things that sort of block pain, is that ultimately over time they sort of dry you out. I think they dry you out and make you like kind of brittle, and they desensitize your ability to figure out pain in some weird ways. There's a guy who wrote a book. It's called The Fourth Phase of Water, and there's water that's produced by the body via the production of like ATP. So it's that water is different water than what you would just, you know, get from a faucet or get from a well. Let's turn back around. It's much different than that kind of water. It's more viscous. It's more, it's kind of like our fascia. It's a gel-like substance. And when we're babies, like the reason why we're sucking stuff out of babies and injecting it into ourselves, babies are like 80% water. At our age, we're probably getting into the 60%. As you get older, it gets worse. But I think caffeine, I think a lot of these things, I think they sort of, in better words than this, kind of suck you dry in some weird way. It's kind of. I
was listening to one of your podcasts, and you guys were talking about cutting out caffeine. Are you still caffeine free?
Yeah, not free. No, I don't really drink coffee straight up anymore.
Were you ever a big coffee guy or no?
Yeah, I love coffee.
Yeah.
I'll
That's one. I love coffee more than like alcohol or anything. I'm fine not drinking alcohol.
It's a nice.
It's really hard to not drink coffee for me though.
Coffee's a nice habit. Right, so
it's the process. I like enjoy it.
Try to catch up to Ryan. Great job.
Yeah, it was fun.
I
will say this is the most regimented and physical podcast I've ever done.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's prepping me to do Cam Haines one day.
Oh, shit. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, I went up there years ago before he had a podcast and he just killed me.
He's such a beast.
Go this way, Ryan.
Such a beast.
This is before he was grabbing a hold of that giant rock.
Yeah, carrying it up the hill.
But I mean, I swear to God, I mean, from here to the road, he just took off, and by the time I got to that area, that's the road up there, I was dead because he just runs straight up this hill.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's like a well, it's probably a little over a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there. So it's not like completely impossible to run it.
Yeah.
But it's
up a hill.
It's up a hill.
Yeah.
It's a continuous hill, and it gets pretty steep in some areas. To the point where you're like sprinting, but you're like this, you know? You're not.
Yeah, yeah.
You feel like you're trying to sprint. You can't move hardly at all. Pretty wild, the capacities that you can build, you know?
Yeah, it is insane to me how resilient the human body is. When you see like Zach Bitter and what he's able to do, Cam Haines and what he's able to do, and then like guys who can maintain a big amount of lean muscle mass, like Cam. I mean, he's fucking jacked, like he's yoked, and he's running however 19 miles a day or whatever it is that he runs every morning.
I know.
So nuts.
He's running far, man. He just loves it too, though. You know, that's kind of back to that passion thing. Like, I was talking with my son like a week ago or so, and he really has gotten into like editing and filming and stuff. And I was asked him, I was like, you know, I was talking to him about his progress of like how much better he's getting and so on. And he's like, you know what? He's like, I just love it. I have so much fun doing it. He's like, I love editing and like figuring it out. I said, you know what? Those are the toughest people to deal with. Those are the toughest people to beat. Right here. We'll go right here. Those are the toughest people to keep up with because they just do it because they love it.
Yeah.
They're not thinking like, I need to get better at this job. You know, I need to make faster cuts or better edits, or he's just enjoying it.
What was the Chris Williamson? Do you know him?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. He had one where he talked about the pots. Did you hear that one? About a professor at a university told one class, I want you to make as many pots as you can this semester, and I don't want you to worry about the quality. The other class, he said, I want you to make the best, nicest, most perfect pot, symmetrical as possible. And at the end of the semester, the class that was told to make as many pots as they could, not only made astronomically more pots, but made better pots than the class that was told to just make one really, really good pot. And so
Kind of sums up my life, I think.
yeah, I'm like, if you throw enough shit against the wall, something will eventually stick. But you got to be willing to take the risk and learn from the mistake.
Yeah, I've always felt like that sort of slow and steady always spoke to me really well. And it's you know, I do want to go faster. You know what I mean? I do want to like so it's not because I don't want to. It's like that's not really necessarily my skill set.
Yeah.
To blow up that way and just to be like a huge overnight or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
It fits my mentality, psyche, skill set. Take my time, have it be this gradual thing.
We were
over
talking
time.
about the Sorinex guys earlier. I didn't know their story. And when I talked to him, he was like, yeah, people think Sorinex is an overnight success. We've only been doing this, whatever, 25 years or whatever. Like, I had no idea. You know, from the outside, I'm like, man, these guys came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I just didn't know the space. And it's no, these guys worked and grinded forever to get this company where it's at.
And they made a lot of unique equipment that ultimately, you know, the space got so big, a lot of their stuff was getting knocked off. They had great, I mean, they still do. They did a great job. They did a great job like pivoting. They didn't just have sour grapes. And they weren't like, oh, people stole from us.
Yeah.
They just pivoted and made better stuff. And
but even people stealing and all that, it does force innovation.
Yeah.
Now, competition is good for the consumer, bad for the entrepreneur in spurts. You know, if you're the guy whose idea got stolen, but that's where, in a way, it lights that hunger, that fear of, I've got to be better, I've got to evolve. Like, I took basically all the profits that we made last year and put it into this AI because I'm betting on the future. And I have conviction that that's the direction of the future, and that will solve an array of problems. And I just think, in my heart of hearts, that's an angle that there's going to be wellness clinics throughout the country that just go, who created the AI software that we can use to run our practice? right? And then you don't have to run a wellness facility. How can I scale it? I provide this proprietary software to every wellness clinic throughout the country, ties it into my pharmacies, gives them a vertical user interface for them and their patients, and everyone wins.
It's amazing.
But competition's what forced that.
Right.
Because there's compounding pharmacies popping up on every corner, and they're just trying to compete through rebate programs and
Got to keep thinking of ways of getting better.
Yeah. They're not trying to improve the user experience. They're trying to compete through negotiating pricing and contracts.
Good run, man. Thank you.
It was good. Thank you.
Hey. Brigham Buhler, everybody. Tell them where you can find you and tell them where they can grab a hold of some of the stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, it's Ways to Well is the company, ways2well.com, the number 2, and then the Instagram is @ways2well, WELL.
Strength is never a weakness, weakness is never a strength. Catch you guys later. Whoosh.